White lives matter too. That's just what someone said in one of my comment sections under one of my videos. I do not disagree with you that white lives matter. All lives matter. My position right now is to spread a light on the injustices and atrocities that Black people in this America have faced and continue to face. It is very passionate to me for various reasons. One particularly is because I am a Black American. I'm Black. I know the Black experience. I've lived it. I've heard of it. I've studied it. So I am going to speak on that what impacts my people. Now, if you're a white person and your white lives matter, you start you a TikTok or a YouTube and you talk about the atrocities that happen to white people in America. I'll wait. Talk about the white enslavement in America. Talk about the buck breaking in America that you white men had to endure. Tell me about the white plantations that were used as breeding plantations for you enslaved white Americans. I'll wait. This is America, y'all. You know what prompted me? I've had YouTube channels for years, and it has never taken off like it has today, and I'm very grateful for it. But in the past, I was talking about positivity and all this stuff. But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk from my heart was really messing with me. And what really prompted it was the election and the vitriol that I saw. And when you Caucasians sit here and talk about make America great again, I'm like, they must not understand the history of America. So let me break it down from a Black perspective. I'm not Native American, and I have not studied Native American history as extensively as I have done with Black history. So I don't feel qualified to speak on behalf of the Native Americans. I am not LGBTQ. So I do not know the plot and struggle. So I don't feel educated enough to speak on what the discrimination LGBTQ plus people go through. But I do know about my people. So that is what I'm teaching on. So when you come on my page and you leave your ignorant comments about white lives matter too, no one said they didn't. If they didn't matter, do you think I'd be wasting my good hard-earned time trying to teach some of you ignorant white folk? Not all of you, don't get offended. If it don't fit, you must have quit. Do you think I'd be sitting here wasting time trying to teach you? Because I don't see it as a waste. I'm trying to be part of the solution instead of bitching and complaining. I'm trying to say, okay, what if I shed a light onto white Americans to see that America making it great again is a lie because it was never really great. You're reminiscing over a period of time that never was great for the majority of people in America, who happens to be people of color and not Caucasians. And that's another caveat to what you all are afraid of. You know you are no longer the majority. And you think that we, people of color, are going to link together. That's why you keep us separated. You don't want us to really want us to grow together as Black and brown people. Because you know a house divided cannot stand. And one of your biggest fears is that Black people and brown people are going to link together and enslave you just like you all's ancestors enslaved my ancestors. But I'm here to tell you that's not in our DNA. Black people are not built like that, because if we were, we would have done it a long time ago. We're not shooting up churches. We're not walking into white churches shooting it up. That's your young white boys, your sons. We're not walking into middle schools and elementary schools shooting up the babies. Those are your white sons. Oh, yes, we may have our issues with Black on Black crime. We got that. Oh, yeah. And we acknowledge it. We're not going to let you throw that in our face. But we will not let you forget that it's your children in your basements building bombs. Not all. Again, if it don't fit, it must have quit. Don't pay attention if it's not you. I'm not painting every white person with the same brush stroke. So if it doesn't apply to you, don't take and don't get offended. Our Black boys, yeah. They have a problem with fantasizing about maybe gangs and making fast money. And yes, but I can assure you, our Black boys ain't shooting up no churches, temples, mosques, synagogues, none of that. Because regardless of how godless you think we are, our whole base and center is God-centered. That's who we are. We just have a flow, an anointing on us. That's why I keep explaining to you all, when we walk in a room, when we're part of anything, we shift the atmosphere because we're God's people. You can disagree all you want. The Garden of Eden, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to talk religion right now. because some of y'all not ready for the truth. So yes, white lives do matter. But my priority is to educate anyone and everyone about why Black lives matter.
Those were the numbers. So here's what they were. The biggest city in the United States then and now is New York City. New York City in 1950 was 90% white. 71 million New Yorkers out of 7.9 million were white. Chicago in 1950 was 86% white. Philadelphia, over 80%. Los Angeles, 94% white. 94% white. That's almost an ethno-state, actually, at that point. Detroit, Michigan, home of Ford, GM, and Chrysler, 84% white. Baltimore, steel and shipping capital of the Mid-Atlantic, 76% white. That was 1950. You know people who were alive in 1950. Maybe you were. Here are the numbers today. Baltimore, 27% white. Detroit, about 10% white, down from 84. Los Angeles, again, 94%, about 37% white now. Philadelphia, 36%. Chicago, less than 30%. And New York City, again, the biggest city in the country, is now around 30% white, down from 90% in 1950.
Well, since we're talking about numbers, Tucker, here's some numbers for you. Before Columbus arrived in 1492, America was 100% Native American Indian. Today, they're less than 3%.
So for these whites-only communities that are starting in Arkansas and Missouri, when you say no blacks allowed, that's fine, but just make sure that it also includes black inventions. So a couple of things that I don't want to see in these white-only communities. If you're going to have a house, no home security system, okay? Just get you a German Shepherd and have him protect y'all. No home security system, okay? That was a black invention. Only stop signs in the white-only communities. I don't want to see no traffic lights. Black man came up with that. Only stop signs for you guys. I don't want to see your little racist children playing with super soakers or eating peanut butter. Black and black, okay? Jelly sandwiches for your little racist ass kids. Only jelly, no peanut butter. No potato chips. I don't give it that you better pack celery in they damn lunch bags. No potato chips. If you need to dry your clothes, use a clothesline, okay? You are not allowed to use a clothes dryer. That is a black invention. If there's a fire, a bucket and some water. That's what you're allowed to use because the fire extinguisher was invented by a black man. If you have your little racist cookouts, no folding chairs. Sit your ass on the ground. Summertime. Don't want to see any AC units. Go to Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, get you a good fan. No AC units in the whites only community. If you go play golf with your little racist buddies, you better hit that bitch off the ground. You are not allowed to use golf tees. Black invention. If you're riding a horse, you want to go get your little racist horse and go on a little racist ride, you are not allowed to use a saddle. Sit your ass on that horse bareback, and I hope your nuts hurt. If you need to iron your clothes, iron them shits on the bed or on the floor. You are not allowed to use an ironing board. For all doors, they better be push and pull. You are not allowed to have a doorknob. Black invention. If you need to do something with your hair, comb it. You are not allowed to use a hairbrush. That is a black invention. You spill something on the floor, get you some good high absorbent paper towels and wipe that shit up. You are not allowed to use a mop. That is a black invention. And how about this? You're not allowed to wear shoes. You better find a good pair of sandals. Shoes, the modern day shoe technology was invented by a black man. That's right, I said it. And when you eat your little racist dinner at night, eat that shit on newspaper on the floor because you're not allowed to eat at the kitchen table, which is also a black invention. So enjoy your white communities. Just be in mind that if you don't want blacks there, make sure you don't have black shit there either.
The folks building up that white-only community in Missouri are very funny because if you know your history, you'll realize that it's going to collapse upon itself. It's going to fail. And I really feel like they're going to notice that it's failing whenever Becky's trying to make burrito tacos and she's really fucking it up. And they'll find somebody else to blame at the end of the day because these people have insane egos and are just extremely racist. Like the thought of maybe my ignorance and my stupidity led to this failure is too much for them. They can't compute it because for centuries they've been telling themselves that they're better than because of the color of their skin, because they're white, they're pure, they're God's gift to earth. You know what I mean? And their whole existence depends upon having their ego stroked by society. And if you don't stroke their ego, they're gonna lash out. They're gonna wall out. Like, and it's because they don't have any kind of culture. They don't have anything to really cling to besides whiteness. Because a lot of white people have lost their culture as a result of coming over here from Europe. And because they lost their culture, lost their heritage, they're always trying to infiltrate Black and brown communities and take what they can and bring it back to them. You know what I mean? Because it's like they see that our communities are built on love and care for one another. And white supremacy doesn't allow for that. It drives for individualism. It drives for you not to care about anybody but yourself because you're trying to reach a level of white supremacy that'll allow you to not give a fuck about anybody, that'll allow you to be extremely superior. White supremacy doesn't just mean supremacy over Black and brown folks. It's supremacy over other white people as well. Because capitalism is one of the things that really holds up white supremacy and allows it to function and run rampant.
One of the reasons why it's hard for us to move forward in this country is because white people don't see the color white or see themselves as a group or a racialized group. They only see themselves as unique individuals, and they're raised to think of themselves as good people. I'm finna explain it real quick. When you don't see yourself as a group and only as individuals, that creates blind spots and systemic racism, which is why many of them don't believe it exists. With having that silly mindset, they only see racism as isolated events instead of continuous narratives. This individualism mindset that allows for them to dismiss generational wealth, land ownership, and legal frameworks that were explicitly built on racism. So when you only think about self, you don't have to reckon with the dark history in America. That's why many of them dismiss things like slavery and Jim Crow because it's not a them thing, it's a you thing. I mentioned they only see themselves as good people. Many of them believe racism only comes from bad people. So when you have this mindset that you're good people and it's been instilled in you your entire life, you're not part of the racist system that was created in America. That's how they think. And what that does is it makes any discussion about collective responsibility or historical impact feel like an impersonal attack on their character instead of an analyst of social dynamics. As you know, we know them better than they know themselves. But reading that book, it made more and more sense the deeper I got.
Lived in a Black neighborhood for quite a while. I saw how they treated white people. It's not very good. And yet all the hate is on white males.
You would get beat up if you said something racial to a Black person.
You saw that happen?
Yes.
Almost exclusively white communities exist all around the United States off of paper merely because of socioeconomics, and that if you are wealthy enough, everyone who becomes wealthy enough will buy into a more or less white-only gated community. But I would not be able to afford that outside of, working my entire life to build up a bunch of businesses, but I would like to have kids.
I want my kids to be taught that their ancestors did great things, not that they were the villains of history.
Correct. And Arkansas is nice. As far as I know, the laws are you just need to let them know that you're going to be homeschooling. And then after that, there's no testing that you need to do, or they don't really check up on you.
The first community that really went after us was the r/Jewish subreddit. I had CPS come out here because they had complained to CPS trying to get my kids taken away. The health department has come out here, complaints. They just blanket made complaints to everyone. I mean, I do have Mein Kampf, but I think that's just historically relevant.
Who read that one?
Mein Kampf?
Yeah.
Hitler.
Oh shit.
After watching all those clips, one thing is very clear. Race remains one of the most emotional and divisive topics in America. What stood out for me wasn't just a disagreement, it was how differently people see the exact same country. Some people look at America and see a history of exclusion, discrimination, and systems that continue to affect people's lives today. Others look at America and see opportunities, progress, and a country that already moved beyond many of us historically. And that is where a lot of tension comes from. Throughout the movie, we heard people talking about race, history, demographics, white-only communities, black history, black contributions to the society in different ways. Whether I agree with every point that was made or not, people talk for a reason. People don't spend too much time talking about race if race doesn't matter. What I find interesting is that many people are asking completely different questions. Some people are asking, how do we move forward? While others are asking, why haven't historical injustice been fully addressed? And others are asking, why are people becoming more divided instead of united? Those are different questions, and because people are asking different questions, they are often talking about the past. One of these themes that catch up repeatedly was identity. Who are we? What does it mean to be a Black American? What does it mean to be a white American? What does history mean today? How much responsibility do people have to do things? These are difficult questions. They are emotional questions, and they are questions that don't have easy answers. Another thing that stood out was how powerful someone's perspective can be. Two people can look at the same event and walk away with completely different conclusions. One person sees evidence, another person sees a problematic system. Another person sees evidences of individual choices. One person sees progress. Another person sees unfinished business. And that is why these conversations continue to generate discussions amongst us, because people are trying to make their experiences make sense. Now, personally, I think the biggest mistake people make, assuming the rate everything is about someone's experience. The reality here is that America is a very large country made up of people from different backgrounds, different communities, different opportunities, and different challenges. Listening doesn't mean agreeing. Understanding doesn't mean surrendering to your beliefs. But if people listen entirely to the conversation, then it becomes impossible to ignore. That's why I think discussions like this are important, not just because everyone is going to agree, not just because everyone is going to walk away convinced, but because it forces people to think, it forces people to question their assumptions, it forces people to examine history, it forces people to consider others' perspective, not only theirs. At the end of the day, everyone watching this video is going to take away something different. Some of you are going to agree with these speakers. Some of you are going to disagree with these speakers. Some of you are going to be in the middle. And that is why. So now I want to hear from you. Which speaker made the strongest point? Which did you agree with the most? Which argument did you disagree with the most? And what do you think is the biggest challenge faced by America moving forward? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy this type of reaction, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and also turn on the notification so that you don't miss future discussions on Black culture, history, and current events. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.